Very excited! By the way, the Ryzen 3000 series has dropped, and this is excellent news for gamers. First things first, a massive thank you to AMD for sponsoring my channel. I'm a fan, and it's a great day to be a fan. And what AMD has done with both the Radeon 5700s and the Ryzen 3000s is not only good for fans, but also good for gaming in general. This is a good day for gaming. Be prepared for competitive pricing across the board for building your own gaming PC. PC gamers rejoice. It's our time to shine now. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button for more gaming and AMD related content. And if there's anything you want to discuss, or if you guys want to just see the hardware in action, come through to the Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/Hinds. I'll see you guys there. To preface this video, there are a ton of great in-depth benchmarks by content creators who've had the chipset way before launch and have put together long, granular videos about its performance. To cut a long story short, it's all great news. So I suggest that you take a look at some of the videos if you guys want to get some in-depth figures. I've been binge watching hours of content, so it's a great day to be a YouTube viewer too. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down what some of those outcomes mean, how it's going to impact your next build, and why we as gamers should care. So AMD have finally released their Ryzen 3000 series chips, which are based on their Zen 2 architecture. What this means is serious mathematical heavy lifting and multi-threaded operations. We do a lot of those on computers, by the way. There's more cache, which AMD are calling AMD Game Cache, which only serves to emphasize how much AMD are catering towards us gamers. Structurally, they're different and they're built with 7nm nodes. These smaller nodes allow for a new chiplet design that makes this new range of processors run cooler, scale better, and fit on existing AM4 sockets. This means if you already own an AMD motherboard that supports Ryzen, Zen 2 is compatible. It's gonna work. It'll only use some of the performance though, because the new chips unlock PCIe 4, which is only on the new X570 motherboards, and doubles the speed from different components on the motherboard to the CPU. Essentially, a new motherboard is a huge upgrade because it unlocks all of the features of Ryzen 3000. Overall, we're looking at a 15% performance uplift from previous gen, which is rather significant. The 3000 series has a load of new offerings that go from Ryzen 3 all the way to Ryzen 9. There's something for everyone and every budget, which is great, but which one should you go with? And which one will be the gold standard for gaming? From the benchmarks that I've seen online so far, it looks like the Ryzen 5 3600 is going to be the new base unit for power versus price for gaming. Check out the benchmarks for yourself though, and make sure that the benchmarks are done with the correct X570 motherboard, and also are taking advantage of the built-in precision overdrive. And I'll get to that in a bit, but first, let's talk about AMD Game Cache. The new AMD Game Cache is a direct result of the increased core count. More cache for gaming is a great thing, as it means less latency for game performance. There's up to 72 megabytes of game cache available on Ryzen 3000, and less latency translates to a higher FPS, faster input time, which means a more responsive gaming experience. This is obviously the most beneficial in an esports environment, but there's an argument to be had about lower latency on your system, mitigating any internet lag or other components that you might have in your machine that are bottlenecking your system. You can control what's happening on your local PC, but you can't control what's happening between your ISP and whatever game server you're connecting to. So now let's get into Precision Boost 2. Overclocking your CPU is always a scary and daunting task if you don't know what you're doing. It's especially scary because the components that you just bought are relatively expensive, and the risk of blowing up your machine is always at the back of your mind, at least it's in the back of my mind. Precision Boost 2 is AMD's answer to eking out as much potential from the CPU as possible without anything that's gonna confuse you or I don't know, accidentally blowing up your machine. That means that the 3000 series CPU that you've just bought can be more powerful out of the box depending on a couple of factors. Straight up, if you have the Ryzen Master software installed, you don't have to enter the BIOS to overclock it. Instead, you could just do it directly from Windows in the app, which is really convenient. Heads up, if you've got a Ryzen chipset already, the Ryzen Master is a great app to have on your machine. But the best integration is again with the X570 motherboards. By default, the CPU's clock speed is limited to what the expected clock speed is on any particular motherboard. The VRM on the motherboard allocates the amount of power needed for the CPU, but most motherboards have way more VRM than the minimum specs allow, especially X570s. This extra capacity means that if you've activated Precision Boost Overdrive, it'll automatically use the available resources from the VRM to increase your average stable clock speed. More clock speed is a better gaming experience. It's basically like automatic overclocking for your system. So you don't have to worry about what your limitations on your system are. Your Ryzen is doing it for you. And lastly, let's just chat about price. From a price perspective, this is probably where most gamers are going to be the most excited. Basically, the mid-range Ryzens are sitting between 3,000 Rand and 4,000 Rand. I'm going to be talking in Rands because I'm South African. This is a big deal to us. And demolish anything Intel has near this price point. If anything, AMD's prices have to drive down Intel if they're even going to stand a chance at competing with AMD at this very moment. Again, this is great news for gamers because no matter what team you're on, you're going to benefit from the price. My advice right now, though, is to take the savings that you get from buying your Ryzen CPU and get a nice X570 motherboard to future-proof your rig and build your components up from there. There's a lot of benefits in having an X570 motherboard. I'm contemplating making a whole separate video on that, so if you guys want to hear more about it, I kind of came up with that epiphany while I was watching the E3 press conference that AMD put up. There's something very special about the new PCIe Gen 4. So there's a lot to take in and a lot of use cases that Ryzen cater for. Other than for gaming, content creators will also benefit from the impressive multi-threaded performance, stuff that AMD is really known for these days. And regardless of what you're doing on your PC, AMD are pretty much the clear winners of the CPU market right now, worldwide. And that battle is fought between price and performance. Those are the two big factors. It's a good day for AMD heads and it's a good day for gamers. Are you guys building a gaming PC and are you considering AMD? Which CPU are you guys thinking of going for? Let me know in the comments underneath this video. If you're thinking of buying a Ryzen chipset, help the channel out by following some of the sponsored links. That would really mean a ton to me. I'll see you guys in another video, if not on Twitch. Cheers.